hold back any water because there's not enough of it left to hold back water! Can you hear me? You seem really close. Doesn't seem like I need to talk this loud, probably. Okay, you're done now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel and also another podcast of the A Conversation With podcast. Basically, this is the show where I interview creative entrepreneurs of today and tomorrow and hear their story, their origin story of how they became who they are. Today we have James and Christina Redd. I'm gonna get this right.
You got it, you nailed it.
I got it. Redd on the show today. We had James Redd on the show last time, but now we have both the dynamic duo on the podcast. Welcome to the show, guys, and do you want to introduce yourselves, plural, and who you guys are?
Yes.
Yes. Well, so since I was here last time, Christina, and you're a woman, so chivalry.
Oh,
Christina,
so
I'll let you introduce yourself first.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I am Christina Redd, half of the Redds, power duo extraordinaire. We have a dog. His name is Cooper. He's not part of the power duo, but he's included. And this is James. I'll introduce him. He's the super handsome photographer guy that hangs out with us. And by us, I mean each other. I don't know. I'm Christina. That's James.
Hi. We're a band.
Okay, wow, that was just very, very random. So like I said, the idea of the show is to really show like the origin story, the background story of the creative entrepreneurs that we have on the show. But what makes you guys special, and you know what's different about you guys, and what do you have going for you on your channels, and who you guys work for?
Well, Christina, what do you think about us being a couple and what that means to our channel? Because I think that's an interesting first question.
I think that adds a whole new dynamic, and the fact that we do basically the same thing and are fairly good at it. I think that is one big standout thing. Because a lot of times you have the guy that films and then the girl that's just tagging along because she has to be part of this thing. I both edit and film video, and James does all of it. And
we're both. I feel like we're both multi-tools of human beings, and also I think that, and so we share our creativity together, and we have our we have our individual creativity, and then we come together and try to share it with each other in a unique way. And so I have my channel, and then she has our channel. So she's doing most of the work on our channel. For our very polished sort of travel, exploration, creativity, vlog type feel. And it's interesting because one, it's sort of her own personal project at this point, and I have my own. He's not allowed. But at the same time, we since you're more of a social butterfly anyway, it's like we tend to share that a little bit more. The vlogging thing, and so she's always coming to me and saying, how does this feel? And so my background is in editing, which goes back way before I met her. And then I taught her to edit, and you've become a more powerful Jedi than I will ever be. I'm not really. Better than him. I can't give that up.
It's fantastic. But yeah, we have a channel together where we basically travel, adventure, and just create really cool stuff.
So I think that there's the couple aspect of it, and I also think that we sort of bring... So there's a dynamic that you can't achieve with just one person that you can achieve with two people, meaning I am sort of
I complete you.
Right, exactly.
Good. See, I already knew. I knew exactly what he was going to say.
We complete each other's sentences. Sandwiches.
Frozen.
And what?
That's
a movie.
Yeah, it's from the movie. Yeah.
It's from the movie.
Is that what that's from?
Did you think you made that up by yourself?
I thought so.
No, you're not that talented.
Oh, heavens. So
it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's like The Lion King, but for the millennial kids. This is going way off track.
Yeah. I've never seen The Lion King, so.
What?
Oh, yeah.
These freaking millennials, man.
The rest of this conversation is going to be derailed to her scolding you about never seeing The Lion King and what you've missed out on. So
I remember respecting him at one point in time.
At one point. Okay.
What I was saying, and by the way, there's a thunderstorm approaching, so if you hear sounds of anarchy and chaos outside, that's what it is.
Our dog is losing his mind.
Yeah, and our dog's freaking out, so you might hear whimpers. But so I have my own freeform type of creativity that has its special place, and then she has her own version of creativity that has its special place, and she's also much more structured than me in a lot of areas. So it's amazing.
Saying I have my life together?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you helped me get my life together. Good Lord. So we complement each other as a marriage. So it's this super powerful creative dynamic that we have with each other. And there's a lot of frustration that can be involved with that and this sort of thing. But there is seriously value to having a partner with you, and especially somebody as close as a wife or a husband that can help you create in a different way and help you achieve better things. She's much better with money than I am. Meaning, what that ends up meaning is that we can actually pull off these really big trips, projects that I could never pull off on my own. And she'll come to me one day and she's like, let's go to Europe in 2 weeks. And I'm like, but home, comfortable. And so
it's not exaggeration either.
Oh yeah. And so she pushes me to be different than what I would be alone. And some really special things come out of that, I think.
Oh yeah, totally. I can totally see the value of that.
It's like we have to find a balance in that, because there's also tremendous value to making sure that you maintain your independence in the creative process.
Yes,
definitely, yeah.
And it's very hard for a long time in the beginning, and still now, it's kind of hard to have that independence on my own, because I feel like James was the all knowledgeable guru of editing and what have you,
I'm flattered,
like
really.
Taste. I never told him that, but that was like James. So I was like, hey, what do you think about this cut? Even though my creative mind was saying this looks good, James was like, that looks very gimmicky, and it was very hard to go, all right, well, screw you, I really like it. And even now, even now sometimes that happens. But we've learned, at least I've learned, how to take that from, gosh, he's such a jerk, he doesn't like anything I create, and go, okay, well, screw him partly. I'll take 5% of what he's saying and then apply it to what I'm actually creating. And, thunder.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone has their own, personal creative style, so, there's going to be variance between every single solitary person, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's just a friction that comes along with spending every day with each other to begin with. And so when you add the but it's, it sounds like a horrible thing, and I think our culture gives marriage a very bad representation, because marriage has been such a beautiful thing to me. And so I'm speaking to everyone who's following you, who is your age, who is quite a few years away from being married. I don't know, Paul, are you married?
No.
Okay, I was
nowhere near. Nowhere near.
I didn't want to be prejudiced. I didn't know.
Don't judge him based off of his age.
Yeah, don't be ageist, James.
Yeah. So our culture treats marriage as this thing that you want to avoid as long as possible. But assuming you can figure out a way to be a non-selfish person, there's something so fantastic that can come from marrying another human being in general, but marrying another creative human being.
Cosign.
Yeah. So as I said, the whole point of the show is to find out the origin story. So I want to know both of your guys' story, but we did cover James' story a lot more in the last episode of the show. So what is your guys' story? And I gave you a bunch of different things that we can talk about. And I want you guys to tell your story on just your whole experience as creators, and working for John Hill and Sara Dietschy, and your guys' connection together.
Long story short, because I feel like I can make this very long-winded. In middle school, my family moved from South Florida to South Carolina, and we started going to church, and everybody was mean because it's middle school and people are horrible. And James was the only person that was nice to me in middle school, which I say this all the time. Boys, treat those ladies right, because you might marry them. So yeah, that's how we met, and we were just friends, really. I liked him, but honestly didn't really think he was cute, so I was like, this doesn't make sense. And we just, developed our friendship as friends for the first, 7 years. No, it hasn't been that long.
It was a while, though. It was definitely a while.
Maybe, 4 years.
We had this huge build-up to actually becoming a couple, which I recommend highly for a lot of people.
Yeah, so we, just were really good friends.
Yes.
It's going to be a series. But we actually used to make videos together when we were just friends. We were like in 7th grade, and James was homeschooled. I was homeschooled for a hot minute, and we made this video, and I don't know where it exists, probably on MySpace, of...
I think it's gone.
Like
Which is very sad.
Something about ramen noodles, and like my job was to run out and say the noodles are ready.
Yeah, there was acting involved.
Yeah,
it was lots of humor and just moving content.
Yeah, I didn't think it was
of a 14-year-old heart. How old were we?
We were like maybe 12. But
really, that young?
Yeah, I honestly didn't think the storyline was funny, but I was like, he's cute. I like hanging out with him. So we made videos together, didn't know that we were going to be making videos together forever. But, yeah.
Truly.
So I guess that's the origin story, and then we started dating, and then eventually we got married, started making YouTube videos. I went down memory lane a couple days ago, and the first couple YouTube videos were very cringe. Very cringe. And yeah, so I guess that's the origin story. Did I cover all the bases?
Well, that's our origin story. With you, though, how did you get into what I'm curious, because I've actually never asked you this question.
Oh, snap.
Oh, it's scandalous.
The truth comes out, man.
This truth. Is what's his name? Drama alert.
Oh yeah, Keemstar. It's Killer Keemstar. Let's get right into the news.
with that lovely intro that was...
I hate that intro.
It's a stock intro from like everyone you can find on any Mac.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what got you interested in making videos in the first place? Like, why did you... Because you started out as an athletic type. You spent time swimming. Mm-hmm. She won state with a detached ankle or something of this sort. A sprained ankle. Close. Same thing. And... you transitioned as we were going out and getting to know each other into basically me, but female.
Is that right?
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay.
Like in terms of our creative ventures and desires.
Okay.
Go.
Lamp. What got me started in the creative world, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I dropped out of college. College was not the vibe for me, and I wanted to design a magazine. My family's from Haiti. I love Haiti, and I wanted to do something based around that. That's why I was going to college, but it was really like weird way about helping. So anyway, I dropped out of college.
You were in this like overlapping stage where you're starting to become more creative, but at the same time you're like, I gotta get my biology degree.
Yeah. So when I dropped out, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna design this magazine, and I needed to know how to use Photoshop, which, like, hindsight is 2020. Don't design a magazine in Photoshop. You can do it, but it's just like so convoluted. I think there's InDesign for that, but James didn't know how to use InDesign, so he showed me how to do it via Photoshop. I ended up designing the magazine in Photoshop, and then YouTube videos came out of that because I wanted to document the process, and that's actually on a channel in the ether that nobody, I don't think, has ever seen, and they were just like weekly updates.
We got together. I mean, at this point we were dating. We would get together and just make these videos and kind of have a fun time trying to turn this into something that we felt like we could do something good with and meaningful, because that was our drive for what we were doing for this stuff around Haiti, was we wanted to do something kind of meaningful and that had a sense of purpose to it and wasn't just a fun video, so to speak. And so we spent a lot of time working on that, and then over time we just transitioned into our channel that we shared, and now every day is... Did someone fall out of the sky again?
I think so.
Every day is us sitting down editing for hours and hours and not talking to each other, and then we go, oh hey, you're over there.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hi.
And so we've sort of meshed together in our lifestyles, and it's really interesting and wonderful. I feel super lucky because I know everybody doesn't get to have that sort of symbiotic relationship with their other.
Yeah, I just think the whole dynamic is really cool. Of, you know, especially with you two both working for Sara Dietschy and John Hill, it's kind of like the two couples, you know, are working for each other. It's kind of cool.
Paul, that was a dirty transition. Well done.
That was awesome.
Well done. That was really well done. Yeah, so we edit for the Internet Power couple, Sarah and John. Dietschy and Hill.
I gave my John Hill spiel. I'll do it in very quick summary, and then I'll let you talk about Sara.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Dude, so I'll give you a little bit of history on me and Sara, okay? I remember, this is right after the Casey Neistat shout out. Casey Neistat shout out. That is a lot of T's. Holy crap. So I've learned, if I've learned one thing with doing this internet thing, is when you see a wave, jump on it immediately. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I started watching Sarah's stuff, and the first couple of things that I watched was like her in Iceland.
Oh, so you're saying jump into the trend that's coming up, which was Sara Dietschy at that time.
Jump into the
as
come
early
up.
as possible. Jump into the come up.
Because when you jump into said come up, you kind of stand out because they're still small enough that they notice new people. Anyway, so I just like really vibed with her. I was like, she seems really cool. I feel like we could be genuine friends, and we are, so it's kind of a big deal. I don't know, like, when I was, and this is not, I'll go back to where we're going, but, we were, why can't I speak English language?
You've been editing.
Relatable, so relatable.
Yeah, relatable.
Your mouth doesn't, your fingers edit, your mouth doesn't edit.
Yes. But when we were in New York last month, I had a moment, and this was
well, unless you don't have hands.
This was the most, like, I've made it moment, but I don't think I really actually have I made it moments. These are just like little milestones where we stayed in Sara and John's office. That's where we lived during the weekend, which was kind of weird and funny. Like, Casey was like a floor beneath us, and I ran into him, which was cool. He has very nice teeth. Anyway,
is that what you noticed about him?
That was the first thing I noticed. He has very nice teeth.
I noticed that he was carrying a boosted board and a camera simultaneously. That's what I noticed.
He's got fantastic teeth. Anyway, we had this moment where Sara was in the office, John was in the office, both James and I were in the office, Jeannie was in the office, like the whole fam was there.
Sara's mom, if you don't know.
Yeah.
No, I got you.
Yeah. And it was just quiet. Like, it was just dead quiet. And all I could hear is just like the little pitter patter of a keyboard or keyboards. All of us were working on our computers, and I was like, wow, I think we made friends. I think like 2 years ago when I was like, Sara seems cool. I'd like to be her friend. It was like a good moment.
It's one thing to be there when the event's happening and all the energy is there, but it's another thing to be sitting in their office with them just typing away, getting work done. Nobody's talking.
Like, you don't have to, there's some people that you like have to talk to keep things going. Like, it can just be quiet with Sara and John, and it's not weird for us. Maybe it's weird for them. I hope
who
it's
knows?
weird for
You
them.
never know.
Nope.
It's kind of just like editing ASMR, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, which I do. That's like my side hustle. I do it in the midnight hours mostly. And it's, enormous headphones. The biggest headphones on the market is what you use for an ASMR edit. But so I'll quickly recap my history with John,
and then
you'll go back over Sara, because I went into more detail on the previous conversation with the Johns. Is that okay, Paul?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. You're in control. I'm just making sure you're in control,
what's going on.
Don't micromanage his podcast.
Oh, this is gonna be a disaster.
This is his podcast. This is not yours. Okay?
Get your life together.
You get off of his podcast. Off. Goodbye.
I'm starting too much drama.
The way that I came across John was through her connection with Sara. And I'll let her talk more about that in a minute. But long story short, I got a phone call from John at one point. He was like, I need someone to edit for me as well. And so I started editing for him, and now I'm editing for him quite frequently, as in like every day. So it's been wonderful. But Christina is the one who sort of got me that opportunity in the first place, and this is what I'm talking about, the complementary creative traits. She found a way to connect with Sara that was really special, and I don't know if I would have been able to have this opportunity with John if it wasn't for her with Sara. So Sara, how did you get a hold of how did you get a hold of Christina? Christina, how did you get a hold of Sara? Because the story is pretty interesting.
It's not my proudest moment. So I mentioned Jeannie. Jeannie and I were BFFs before Sara and I were BFFs. Jeannie actually helped us move to Salt Lake City. She helped us move across the country. We all follow each other on Twitter, and sent her a DM. I was like, hey, do you mind if I pick your brain? Blah, blah, blah. So through that, we kind of built a relationship. And last February or so, I was considering reaching out to Sara. I know that she's I knew that she mentioned, like, she might need some help. I know that she's #killing the game. And I first reached out to Jeannie. I was like, hey, let me run this by you. I by no means want anything from you. I don't want you to reach out to Sara. I don't want you to, like, mention my name. I don't want anything from you. I just want your opinion. And I told her my idea, and she was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And she gave me some feedback, and I didn't ask her to do this, but she reached out to Sara right around the same time that I sent Sara a message. And
what was your idea?
It was to help Sara.
Okay.
And, like, I would do it for free. I just wanted to be, like, in the atmosphere.
That's an interesting point, is that you were willing to do it for free.
Yeah. And, well, not anymore, but because, anyway, so I was super able to do it for free, and still to this day, I would do it for free. I would do a lot of things for free still. And I think you always should be at a level where you should do something for free, because value, blah, blah, blah.
It's a good tool.
Yeah. Anyway, so I reached out to Sara and gave her my idea, and she said, oh, yeah, my mom mentioned it. And I was like, it's kind of embarrassing, but, like, cool, Jeannie's great, right?
You got an in with the coolest woman in her life. That was the story of that.
Yeah.
That's why that's so special.
Yeah,
it's like,
basically.
Oh, if my mom says that this is going to be an interesting editor, not every mom would.
Well,
that
Jeannie
wouldn't
didn't
be
really mention
valid for every mom, but Jeannie's a pretty rad dude.
Yeah.
So I think she had some pull in the relationship.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think Jeannie, like, mentioned me as, like, oh, she's a good editor. She just said Christina's willing to help. And then Sara knew our work. Sara was like, yeah, I've seen all of your adventures. I was like, oh my gosh, stop. But anyway, yeah. So Jeannie was my in crowd, and but the relationship kind of developed over the following months, and then the following year, and then I saw John post on Twitter. He needed a motion graphics artist, and I was like, James does motion graphics, and
I can.
It kind of shifted, and life unveiled.
So how long have you guys been editing for them? Like both of you?
I have been editing for Sara for almost a year now, and just doing different things with her for almost a year. And James, wow, weird.
Jacob.
Jingleheimer Schmidt. John has been freaking hell. This person has been doing it for like 6 months or 7 months now. Hopefully they keep us around. I really like them. We just start picking our nose.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like we worry about having the diversity in our income to be able to survive some sort of...
Well, Sara said she'd keep me forever.
Some sort of, yeah.
About you and John.
And there's absolutely no indication that that's going to happen anytime soon. We have a wonderful relationship with him, but it's like, Sara... I mean, listen, John might do a skateboarding trick, hit his head on a statue, and die.
Say that.
And so I have to be prepared for if that happens.
He has to be prepared to edit that video.
I mean, I got to be reselling on eBay or something so that we can fund our adventures. And so, yeah, we're thinking about that, and it's interesting because coming from the place where I was at Starbucks, the problems got smaller as I came out of Starbucks in a sense, because that was just a really uncomfortable place for me. I'm more comfortable now, but that doesn't mean that there are not still issues that will come up, and you still have to struggle through things. That never ends. And so
it's just different. It shifts.
It's an important reason. So it's interesting because it does get better, but at the same time, it's an important truth to know, which will help you enjoy the journey more, because you have to, you can't just wait until everything's kind of perfect, because that really doesn't exist. You just keep working on it more and more. But that's how we ended up where we are now. And right now we're focusing on using that to be our backbone. And it's interesting because we're 100% within the YouTube sphere. She's still working on getting out of her job, but we didn't want to divulge any information on that because we're still working on that game plan. So what we're trying to do is get to a place where we're 100% supported by something that helps us work from home and be happy and do what we want to be up to, while we're building our own channels from where they are right now, which is still pretty small, to something that is much bigger.
Correct. So before we wrap up, do you guys have any like future plans and like what you guys are working on your consecutive channels? And do you have anything like new planned and that you can talk about, obviously?
Christina.
Yes, everything. All at once. That's it.
That's a good way to achieve a plan.
Yeah.
Is to do everything at once.
Yeah. So the rest of this year, lots of travel. I want to really like kind of dive in on maybe like our credibility online. I think we have a lot of credibility within the creator community, but maybe growing our channel and our following to a little bit more of a sustainable place. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Sustainable financially?
No, not sustainable financially, like sustainable. Like, I just want all the people to follow us. Like, we're just really big deals, so, you know. But, yeah, so just lots of collaborations this year, lots of relationships. I feel like lots more New York because I just love the energy that city has.
Yeah.
And just lots of, I feel like lots of yeses and lots of nos. That makes sense.
Well, another thing that us being able to be connected with people like John and Sarah and just the other people we've connected with over time, slowly and very patiently, and that was something that I emphasized last time that I want to emphasize this time, is just it takes a lot of patience. You have to be very, very sort of, you have to treat it, it's a tortoise type of thing where you have to really spend your time trying to build the infrastructure to get you to where you want to be.
I will say something on that, though.
Okay, go ahead.
So after looking back, like these last couple of days, I've been doing some channel cleanup and organization and stuff, and I was looking back through the videos. Lots of patience, and in the moment, it feels like it's taking forever. But when you look back, and you look back at the videos that you've posted and all of that, you're like, wow, the come up was very quick. Like, even if I think about this last month, I went to 2 different states within
as far as our
weeks.
traveling,
but I feel like we never travel.
Right.
And then when we speak with friends, they're like, oh, wow, you guys are in town? We're like, yeah, we live in our apartment.
Yeah, all our friends
we don't
think
leave anywhere.
All our friends don't think we actually have a home. They just think we live in the desert or somewhere in Colorado or freaking we went to Vegas or, you know.
It's like the perception, I think the perception versus the reality. The reality feels like, gosh, this is taking forever. Why do I have to be so patient forever? And I feel that like right now, I feel like I'm going to feel that forever. But when you look back, you're like, wow, like 2016 was an insane year for us.
Yeah.
Like that was just wild.
Yeah, no,
and everything happened. Like looking back, you're like, wow, a lot was squeezed in to those 12 months, but there were like 2 months that felt like 3 years. You know what I mean?
Perspective is a silly thing. It's the you know, you look at it from different. When you look at it from the future, it has this special way of making things feel like a bit more encouraging. You go, oh, I did all that in that time. Okay, what's next? This is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm just excited for this year. I'm excited for the possibilities. I recently like had the light bulb moment of like, nothing's off limits. Just I want to move to Timbuktu in 3 weeks. By golly, I'm gonna be out of here. Maybe 4 weeks.
Which is definitely on our list. Timbuktu. Where is Timbuktu?
If you want something, you work hard enough for it, and you go for it. And this is like me preaching to the choir because I always have to like remind myself of this. Well,
that's why it's so important to actually make to-do lists and have like, if you have 3 things in a day that you want to achieve that are directly related to you getting to your goal, that's how you're going to overcome sort of the frustration of the lack of perspective of where you're going to be in the future. Because when you're in a spot where it's really uncomfortable, you think, this is never going to change. I'm actually going to die in this place right now. Like it's sort of a depressing place that you can get into, but you have to, this forward motion is incredibly important.
I get excited when I think about it. I get excited when I think about the possibilities of certain things happening. And there's certain things that, like, I think about, I get excited about happening that I don't really want to happen. Like us moving, like, I don't really want to move to New York, but the possibility of it happening is like, boy, I would be so ready for it. But at the same time, it's like, I really like Salt Lake City.
And if you spend your time, if you decide to do a couple of really sort of ballsy things with your life as a creator, this interesting effect that also happens is that when you're moving on to another ballsy thing, you can look back to the last ballsy thing. And so I do that now. Me and her commuted across the entire country in a Honda Civic to move to Utah.
That was fun.
And that was something that was like 2 years before that was something that felt like it could probably never happen, and I had no idea how that could even work.
Yeah.
And we did it, and now we're here, and now we're okay, and we don't live under a bridge.
Yet.
And it's just, you sort of build up this like soil. You build up these layers of confidence for what you can do, and everything gets a little less scary the more you do that stuff. So if you're in a place where you feel really scared to do something meaningful and big, go do something meaningful and big, because that's how you're going to come out the other end of that, no matter what. I mean, if you climb Everest, you might die, but other than that, there's a lot of room in between to experiment.
Yeah,
and
I don't plan on climbing Everest anytime soon, though. It's like one of those things that
I like breathing, really.
Yeah, and there's no oxygen up there, I heard. Like, there's, like...
Which means you can't breathe.
Yeah. So, anyway.
So I think that's a huge, important truth.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, do you have any like tips or encouragement for the audience that's watching it, but just about your guys' life and, doing what you guys do?
Don't be scared of having a mate to to
mate with,
take you to different places in your life. Yes, to mate with. And don't be That's my only one. What about you, Christina?
I'm going to give some internet strategy.
Okay.
I feel like I know a lot about just building relationships and stuff.
Yeah, you have some nice community chops.
I have some good community chops. And it comes from just loads of insecurity, too. Like in the middle of, like, building relationships. Anyway, so my advice is if you want to connect with somebody like Sara Dietschy or John Hill or Casey Neistat, like, really nobody's off limits, because they are literally humans that just get notifications on their phones. Like, nobody's off limits. And, like, no situation is off limits. The way that you should, like, number one, your first goal should be to stand out. And the way to stand out from the noise is maybe find something that they really like. So, maybe, like, for example, and I didn't do this, because I jumped on the Sara train a little bit earlier, so I didn't have to do much to stand out other than be really funny on Twitter, was like, whatever, let's say, like, she likes cats, be the person that sends her cat picture every day. Make sure it's a cute cat. Nobody likes an ugly cat.
To the point that it's annoying, by the way. Let's make sure we include that.
Yeah, sure.
11 cat pictures per 3 hours? Like, is that too little?
You're going to run out of cats.
Yeah, there's not that many cats.
Oh, Paul, there's a plethora of cat photos if you look up cats on Google image search. Believe me.
I know, but like, how many pages are there? Like,
there's at least 10. I've never gone past 10, but there's at least 10.
So maybe just one picture a day, and just, like, find something that the person, like John, for example, is Asian and tweets a lot of Asian-y things.
Just tweet John's anything that's remotely ridiculous. And
or, like, a ridiculous Asian, like, picture.
But, well,
I don't know.
So
you know what I mean?
Maybe this leads into what you're saying. What I said last time was
that not good enough, James?
No. I'm wrapping it up and putting a bow on it.
Oh, am I talking too much, James?
Yes. And also, no. What was I saying?
I wasn't listening.
If you want to have friends, be a friend to the person that you want to be your friend.
Ooh, that's some Golden Girls-ish.
Right, so I wrapped all of that up and put it in aren't you glad I spoke?
So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the podcast, and also thank you guys so much for coming on the show. If you guys are watching the video, make sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe. There are links to their channels and social media will be in the description down below. If you guys are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you guys are listening to the audio podcast version, make sure to leave a review in the iTunes store or the Google Play Store. We're trying to get that as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace, everyone. I will see you in the next one.